Hi guys, back again. Can you all hear me? Hi guys, back again. I hope you can all hear me. Can anyone just tell me if you can hear me or not? Just say yes, we can hear you in the questions coming up. Cool, thank you. Excellent. So guys, while this actually works, I would love to get some questions from you guys and answer it because I'm here for you. I have a few minutes now where I thought I might as well do a live stream and see what you guys are up to. Um, so, like I was saying, I'm sitting here in my house in Spain at the moment. I'm doing quite a lot of instructor work in the simulator at the moment, and that's probably why you haven't seen so much from me. But I will be producing quite a few new videos coming up. So I hope you guys have suggestions of what you want me to talk about in those videos. Right, guys, so tell me who is here and what can I do for you? So Beast asked me, what is your dream airline to fly for? Well, actually, like I've said in a few other of my videos, I am very happy where I am right now. I am extremely happy with how my life is turning out inside of this airline. So while that is the case, while I'm happy where I am not going to look for another airline. But that can change. You never know in this business. Things can happen very quickly. Right now, I am in my dream airline right now, right here. Why did you choose Spain as a base? Ask Cricket. Well, my wife is Spanish. My wife is from Girona, and as they say, happy wife, happy life. You know. So I was based in Sweden for almost 7 years, or even a little bit more than 7 years. But after that, this position that I have right now opened up in Spain, and I applied for it, and I managed to get it. So I'm extremely happy about that. Um, More questions. What are the challenges of moving to Middle East carriers? I don't know, actually. I have never been working for a Middle Eastern carrier, so my experience there is very limited. I do have quite a few friends that's gone there, and they have told me that the cultural difference between Europe and the Middle East can be quite challenging. It's often very challenging for the spouses to find work, which can also become a strain on the relationship. And if the relationship doesn't work and the wife or husband moves home, then that can, of course, be a major problem for pilots moving to the Middle East. Mariano Camarena asked, why did you become a pilot? Well, as I'm guessing is the case for many of you guys out there, it was a childhood dream of mine, as in from when I was 14 years old, that was all I ever wanted to do. So at a very early age, I started finding out how can I achieve this dream? You know, what schools do I need to go to? How much money do I need to pay? And I found a government-sponsored program in Sweden that actually provided me with the training sponsored by the government, which was absolutely fantastic. And without them, it would have been harder, but I think I still would have come to where I am right now. It would just have taken a longer time. So, Yehuda, math entry exams for university in a few days. Advice for staying motivated. Well, yeah, I do. This is motivation. Like you can get your dream job if you are good at school, if you get the grades that you need in order to apply for the colleges and the courses that you want to get into. That should be motivation enough for you guys to study hard in school. I know some of the subjects can be really, really boring, but you have to look at what the ultimate goal is. And if you see the ultimate goal and you realize that you need to be good even in gymnastics or in math or in physics or whatever it might be in order to reach that goal, then that should be motivation enough for you. Cricket, was CAA exams challenging for you? Yeah, they were. There were a lot of them. And it's a lot of information that you need to digest and kind of show in a very short period. So yeah, I think that anyone who has a CPL or an ATPL will say that the ATPL exams are quite challenging. It requires a lot of attention, a lot of time, and a lot of focus from you guys. Dr. A. Rowe, does nationality affect job finding process? Well, it does and it doesn't. I mean, not really, to be honest. If you have the qualifications and the licenses that are required to apply for a job wherever you are in the world, and providing you have the visa to do so, your nationality per se does not have an influence. However, it can be harder for some nationalities to get a visa into the major flying markets. So yeah, to a certain extent, then sure, nationality can have an influence. Seth Rollins, how do I become a major airlines pilot? That depends a little bit of where you are. You need to get your licenses. You need to have. You need to then get experience. In most cases, you work in smaller airlines, maybe flying mail or something like that, to build up experience and flight hours. And when you have enough, you'll be able to apply for the bigger airlines, the bigger boys. Kartik Mackle, hey, good to see you, man. Do you know the procedures for an Air Force pilot to shift to commercial? I think they differ in different countries. I know that it was easier before to be a military pilot and then switch over to the civilian side. I am not exactly sure what the requirements are now. I am guessing that you will have to do quite a few theoretical exams, etc. But this is something that I tell everyone who asks me if it's a good idea to go through the military to become a commercial pilot. I say that in order for you to be a military pilot, you need to first and foremost want to do it, to serve your country, to do a good job as a military pilot. I would not recommend you to become a military pilot just to get into the commercial side, because it will take you years of hard, dedicated service to your country to then get you into the civilian side. So I don't think personally that is a fantastic way of doing it. But sure, if you are into that, if you like that, then sure, that's one way to go. Stoltan, good to see you as well, man. There's quite a few of my crew from my Patreon site here, which makes me really happy. I'm really happy to see you guys. Sultan, what do you think about the current situation in Ryanair? Will there be a chance 1 year later for a pilot job for low-hour cadets? Well, as always, I don't really discuss individual airlines or the situations in individual airlines. But what I can say is when it comes to the low-fare companies in Europe, it looks very, very good at the moment when it comes to employment. I know Ryanair has actually gone out with official figures of having to employ around 600 cadets, I think, per year in the next 5 years or so. There's similar figures for Norwegian, maybe not as big. EasyJet will need pilots as well. So the airline business and the low-fare airlines in Europe is looking very good for the next couple of years. But as always, when it comes to this business, you have to realize that anything can happen. I mean, the business looked really good in 2001 before 9/11 as well. So at the moment, it looks fantastic, but no one really can say for sure. More questions here. Andreas Osama, Mentor, what did you study at university? Well, I actually did not go to university. I went into what was called Aviation College of Sweden, ACS, and through that I got all my licenses, and then I did a course on top of that, which included my MCC and my multi-engine rating. And even before that course was done, I managed to get a job with my current airline. So I've never had the time or the possibility to do a university course, even though I really recommend you that if you do have the chance to do so, because it's very good to have. Holly Blossom, where's a good aviation college in England? Well, this is also something that I do get a lot of questions about, guys, and that is individual schools, colleges, and so on in different countries. First of all, I know very few of them personally. Like, I have only done my course in Sweden, which means that my knowledge about individual schools, for example, in the UK is very limited. And in order for me to actually endorse one of these schools, I'm going to have to get some proper knowledge about it. I wouldn't want to tell you that XYZ school is really good just to find out that they're not actually very good. So, you have the big schools, you have CTC Aviation, you have Oxford, for example. They are good because they are licensed. They have a lot of people doing the training through them. They're consistently bringing out quite good cadets. But they're also very expensive, and there are loads and loads of other schools that are probably good as well, but that I can't really tell you anything about. Captain Fenny, hi Captain, what's the best way of increasing flight hours in the shortest time, say 1,000 hours? Well, this is kind of an art form. First of all, right now, there are actually opportunities to get jobs in for example, the low fare carriers without having that many hours. You can basically get straight out of flight school, and if you are good at your interview and your flight test, you can get into a type rating course with minimum hours. But if you do want to gain hours, then the most common way that people have been doing it so far is they've taken a flight instructor license and they've been working for flight schools, teaching other people to fly, and by doing that increasing hours quite quickly. You can also do things like pulling gliders, flying parachuters, doing fire surveillance. Loads of these things exist, but it is tricky to get those first 1,000 hours. So, Matthias Lara, answer me please. As a pilot, do you see your family a lot? And how many times in a week? Yeah. This is one of the reasons why I am actually with my current airline at the moment, because I always get home after my flight duty. So when I am flying, I do my flying either on earlies or late. But after that, I will get home to my family. So I will see my family every day of the week. Now, during the winter, there's a bit of a difference because I am needed as an instructor and examiner, so I'm spending quite a lot of time in the simulator away from my family. But that has then been, my company has been helping me by giving me a slightly better roster pattern because of this, so that I still see my family quite a lot. So in my line of work, I see them all the time, but there are other airlines where you might be spending quite a lot of time away from your family, and that might indeed be hard on family life, okay? VR1, hi Mentor, love what you're doing here. What's trimming? Thank you. Well, trimming is what you do, basically, this is aerodynamics. This is one of the reasons why you study aerodynamics in school. So an aircraft will be subjected to different forces during flight, okay? And depending on the speed of the aircraft, the difference between the point of gravity of the aircraft and where the forces, for example, the lift is being subjected will different, okay? So with higher speed, it will move a little bit. And because of that, you will also have different forces being introduced to the flight controls. And the trimming, what we do with trimming is that we trim away, we move the stabilizer in the back in order to counteract the changes in these forces for the forces on our flight controls to be approximately equal. Okay, so the exact explanation of what trimming does, you can find when you're reading your ATPL theory and even your PPL theory. Right, guys, it seems like this is coming and going. I will just continue as long as you have questions. So Beastly Beast, when was the scariest time flying? I mean, I don't really get scared flying. We try to avoid situations where we do get scared. Sometimes it can be quite challenging. If it's, for example, it's extremely windy and poor weather conditions and a lot of traffic around, that can become challenging, okay? So we become more and more focused. But actually scared, I am happy to say that I haven't been as part of flying. I've been scared outside of flying, but not while I've been professionally flying. More, let's see. Ranyat, do we need to clear SAT exams to take admission to flight schools of USA? When it comes to different flight schools and what kind of requirements they have, you're going to have to contact those schools, guys, because every school might be different. Some schools might not need you to have any kind of academic background. Some schools might want you to have a university degree. So I will not be able to answer that directly to you guys. You're going to have to contact the school, send an email to them, go to open days, ask all of these questions to them. Sub-Zero, Mentor Pilot, why is it so expensive to join a flight school? The answer to that is that it's very expensive to do the training in the first place, to maintain the aircraft, to keep them in a flying state and to actually fly is expensive. But on top of that, the flight schools want to earn money. So they want to put out as high prices as possible on people's dreams, and that is essentially why there's so much difference in flight schools. The more expensive flight school you go, the better flight school you go to, the higher price will be. They will be able to take more money from you guys. They'll be able to increase the quality of what they're doing for the next people, and then take even more money. They are companies, so they're trying to earn money. And that's the short answer. It's both expensive because it has to be to maintain the aircraft and the teachers, flight schools, all of that. But you know, the bulk of the money will go towards trying to get some profits into the flight school. More questions. Is it true that you work for Ryanair? Well, I have said, and I will continue to say, that I'm not actually discussing my employer on here. I will not either confirm or deny any airline that I am associated with. And the reason for that is that I am doing this on my own time. I'm only doing this to tell you guys what my opinion is and what I think about this job. And I'm not representing anyone else than myself when I'm doing this. That's why I don't want to be associated with any particular airline. Matthias Lara, thank you. So is it possible to be a pilot and have a family? What airline do you work for? So like I said before, I'm not going to talk about my airline, but yes, it is possible to be a pilot and have a family. Absolutely. Are you excited to fly the Boeing 737 MAX series? Yes, I am. I am so looking forward to actually to do that. It looks like a fantastic aircraft, and it's going to be really, really nice to get my hands on the controls of that. How old is the start once flying lessons eventually becoming Yeah, I've done a couple of videos on this as well, guys. You can start training to become a pilot in almost any age. I did an interview with SAA not too long ago. They say that they are not taking in people that are older than 35 years old, but that's their limit. I've also met people that have started their flying career when they're in their 50s and are actually progressing and getting a job. So you can be old and still become. What you have to think of though is that it's going to have a financial impact on you and your family. So you will have to weigh all of that in before you start training at a higher age. But if you're aware of it, then just go for it, guys. Pilot F22, hey man. So long time ago since we talked. In which way do you think gliding license can enhance your flight skills as a commercial pilot? Well, I mean, you will get a very good sense of aerodynamics as a glider pilot. That's going to help you with stick and rudder feeling, basically. I don't think that it necessarily will help you towards any particular type of flying, but it's obvious that being a glider pilot, you will earn quite a lot of flight skills and aerodynamic skills and knowledge about meteorology and stuff like that, which you will definitely have benefit from. So Ben James, can you talk about being a pilot on reserve versus on the line? Yeah, the way it works, guys, is that there will be a full roster. Let's say that you work at a base and there's 3 aircraft flying from that base. Now there will be a roster where all of those flights are being covered by pilots, but there also has to be people sitting on standby in case one of these pilots will become ill for whatever reason and not being able to fly. Therefore, normally there's maybe 1 or 2 or 3 pilots, depending on how big the base is, sitting on standby, so that they can at any point be called in at an hour's notice. That's generally the deal. You have to be able to be at the airport within 1 hour from being called. Otherwise, you can do whatever you want. So if you live close to the airport, it means that you can be at home, sipping coffee, taking it easy, and then the airline calls you one day and you have to go out to the airport and fly. And that's essentially it. Mysterioid, when do you think electrical aircraft will be used by big airlines? Oh, I hope as soon as possible. You know, it's going to take time. That's the reality of it. But I'm hoping that what we will start phasing in is more environmentally friendly types of fuels, renewable fuels, and then possibly being, you know, getting some electrical engines in there. And it's going to take a lot of time both to certify these types of aircraft for commercial use, well, to bring them out in reality. So we're probably looking at a good 25-30 years before we see them in any bigger airliners, but that's just my opinion. Blue Barrel, hi Mentor, how's the new roster doing you? Great, you know, I have a lot of time to be at home, to spend with my family, to spend working on the channel. I'm also working on my new app that is going to be released very soon, guys. So stay tuned. For those of you who haven't tried my old app, I really advise you to do that. My new app is going to be much more advanced, and it's going to be more videos, and it's going to be continuously updated. But that is still to come. So those of you who haven't tried my app, Mentour 360, go and do it now. And I'm actually going to launch a competition, probably tomorrow, that is going to be based on that app. So if you haven't already, get it now. Shalem Mobilia, has the age of jumbo aircraft ended? No, I don't think that it's ended. I think that there will always be a market for these huge, like the Airbus 380 and the Boeing 747. However, it's turning out that the slightly smaller but still big aircraft, like the 777, for example, is much more commercially valid. So as long as that is the case, it's likely that that they probably won't sell as many of these big jumbos as they do of, for example, the 777. And then you have the short and medium haul, which is going to be dominated by aircraft like the 737 MAX and the Airbus 321neo. Nasser, do you travel and see the world? I do, but I do that on my off time. When I'm working, it's mostly flying all over Europe, but I only have 25 minutes stay in each place. So it's not a lot of time where I actually get to see the world, to say so. Joshua, dear mentor, what methods do you use to keep calm and relaxed when coming up to a test? I have my IR exams coming up shortly. Sometimes I feel nerves to get the better of me. Yeah, this, guys, this comes from experience. So, personally, I don't, you know, when you are being subjected to being subjected to different tests every 6 months for 15 years, you become used to it, and you realize that what they're after is just making sure that you are up to the job. And if you feel yourself that you're confident in what you know and what you do, then you also know that you can do the job, which means that there should really not be any reason to be really, really nervous. To be a little bit nervous is good, because that'll keep you on the edge. But if you have studied enough, then you shouldn't really be nervous. I have my little son Lucas coming in here. He's really curious about what Dad is doing. More questions. So, do you always fly with the same plane and the same co-pilot? No, I don't. You know, this is being rostered over. First of all, the plane is being is being changed all the time because of maintenance schedules. So, how important are high skills in math and physics? This is, I would say, I always do, that it is important for you to understand physics. It's important for you to have a good knowledge in math, because you will need that for your ATPL theory. Lucas, I'll be right with you. Okay, I'm coming soon. Can you go to Mama for now? Thank you. No, he didn't pull the cable. Let's see. You're right, Jericho. Enter, I'm 195 centimeters tall. Can I fit in the cockpit? I believe so. There are some limits to length, both how short you can be and how tall you can be. It tends to differ a little bit with different airlines. Generally, you just have to fit into the cockpit and not hit your head on the overhead panel and stuff. So around 2 meters, I think normally the limitations are. But I have flown with pilots that are as tall as you, so I wouldn't be that worried. Davis, which one do you like better, Airbus or Boeing? Well, to be perfectly honest, I've only flown the Boeing, and I really like the Boeing, but I would love to try the Airbus, because it's a completely different technology, it's a different type of philosophy when it comes to piloting, so I would love to try them, but I don't have a clear favorite, and if it would be one, it would be the Boeing, since that's the one I'm flying. What more? found that flying-wise, I thought that the single pilot dual engine was the hardest part of the entire training, because you're flying a very complex aircraft with 2 engines, and it's only you who have to cover both the flying and the handling of ATC and all of that. So I thought that flying-wise was the most challenging. IR, instrument rating, is also quite challenging in the beginning. When it comes to the flight training as a whole, it's probably the combination of both doing your theory and doing the training at the same time that can be really, really tough, especially on the integrated courses. Saban Parker, what if both pilots are incapacitated? Well, we do hope that doesn't happen. See if I can get no kind of flight training whatsoever and see if I can talk them down over the radio. I do think Mythbusters did an episode trying to do that. I do not know if they were successful or not. But basically, if you have both pilots incapacitated and there's no jump seating pilots on board, it's a very bad day indeed. Test. Are flight schools free for its citizens in Sweden? Yes, there are flight schools that are for free in Sweden for people that are from the Nordic countries, I believe. You can go to the homepage of that flight school I visited, SAA, Scandinavian Aviation Academy. They will have outlined exactly what you need to do. It's only a few courses only a few spots every year that are available, and there's quite high competition for those places. Diogo, I'm living in Spain as well, in Barcelona. Do you know of any good flight schools in Barcelona? I would love to contact me. You disappeared, sorry. That once again, I don't know any specific schools in Barcelona. I haven't been there, haven't visited them, so there's nothing that I can condone. I know that there are several flight schools available in Barcelona, so I would suggest you just go to them, go to open days, talk to them, talk to previous students, see if they can give you any kind of feedback. Do you have a nice car? Well, I used to have a nice car. I used to have a Porsche 911. I sold the Porsche because I wasn't using it as much as I wanted, and I bought a nice apartment down by the beach instead. But at the moment, I'm driving a Audi A4 3.2 Quattro, which is also good, I have to say. We rotate 8. When will your next live session be? Well, you don't know that. I don't know that. Basically, when I have some time over, that's nice, Lucas. Whenever I have some time over, I try to do these live sessions because I really enjoy having this direct interaction with you guys. Daniel Frost, how many sectors do you fly per day? That depends. Normally I fly 2 sectors or 4 sectors. Sometimes it can be 6 sectors, but very rarely. I would say 2 to 4 sectors is the most common. And Lucas is showing you what he's been drawing here in the back. He thinks this is really exciting. Is it possible to become a pilot if you don't have lots of money? It is, but it's harder. Okay. Lucas. Vill du att pappa ska sluta nu? Kan du gå till mamma, är du snäll? Thanks. It's harder. You will have to work for the money. You will have to start working, gain the money, pay for your flight training as you go. And of course you can do that. It will take you longer, but that's it. There's also some countries like France and Sweden that has government-sponsored programs, and in those obviously it doesn't matter how much money you have or how little you have. You are going to be judged on how good you are, and if you get in, then they will pay for it. Can an airline pilot have long hair, for example, dreadlocks? Yeah, actually I have flown with people who have longer hair. But this goes, if you look at my video that I did about tattoos and about beard, the kind of same thing goes for there. You have to use your common sense. You as a pilot, when you walk to the aircraft, you are going to be judged by the people who are going to fly with you. They are going to be nannies, they're going to be young people, old people, people from all walks of life, and they want to see someone that they can put their lives in their hands, basically. So they want to be reassured by the look of the pilots. And that's why we have the uniform, that's why it's important to keep the uniform neat, and that's why we have to be groomed in a certain way. If you come with dreadlocks, that might portray a different picture than what the airlines would like to portray. So it might become a problem with that. But you can always try. And if there's something you stand for, if that's part of your religion, for example, then you go for it and you see what happens. Um, so, your most enjoyable approach, have you done Palma? Yeah, Palma, if you mean Palma de Mallorca, I've been there. Yes, I've flown there. I haven't flown into the Canary Islands yet. I have done a lot of enjoyable approaches. It's generally very, very fun. I flew into Bergamo the last week, which is great. Um, the beautiful approaches in Italy, in Spain, some of the Scandinavians as well. So yeah, the beautiful approaches everywhere. Mentor, please say again what's the lowest height for pilots. And once again, this is different between different airlines. You're gonna have to go into the individual airlines and see what their height requirements is. But I think normally the what I've seen so far is between 155 to 200 centimeters, somewhere in that region. Um, what's the worst subject in theory? Well, that is going to be different from everyone. All right. Some people who have problems with math will think that navigation, for example, is hard, or obviously air law can be boring. There's a lot of things to remember. I think myself, if I remembered it, I thought air law was very hard, because the other ones you could kind of clearly relate to. The air law that was more hard to digest, if I put it that way. What do you do during long and boring cruising legs? Well, it doesn't. I mean, sometimes you get bored. It's as easy as that. Sometimes it just happens. But most of the time, we do get reroutings. We have to talk to ATC. We have to update our paperwork, and we talk to each other. We talk like any colleagues would do. So, on really long legs, you might get bored, but generally not. Generally, it's quite okay. Right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm just going to take a few more questions. Could you do a meetup with your subscribers in Spain? Yeah, I would love to do that. Actually, I had an idea today, because I had a question about if I'm going to see Sully the movie, and I want to go and see Sully the movie. And I was thinking that could be a really fun way of meeting up with people in Spain, specifically in Barcelona or in the Girona area. I'll see what I can do with that. Otherwise, I will just go to a bar somewhere and tell you guys where I'm there, and we can have a meetup. That would be fantastic. I would love to meet you guys. Mr. Ariel, should I go through the RAF or to start as a short haul pilot? Yeah, I talked about this in the beginning of the podcast. I don't think that you should be going through the military route if you just want to become a commercial pilot, because you should be willing to serve your country and do a good job as a military pilot, and you should not do it just because you want to become a civilian pilot. Meet up in London. We'll see. If I'm in London and I have some spare time over, then I could definitely do that. But like I said, like these things is what I love. I love interacting with you guys. I think this is great. So if I could do that with people in real life, that I would gladly do that as well. Did you ever fly to Memmingen in Germany? Actually, yes, I did. I've done that many times. I had a medical emergency going into Memmingen, and the passenger was fine afterwards. But yeah, I've flown into Memmingen. Memmingen's quite a tricky airport, especially coming from the south, since you have to dive in behind the Alps. I am 17, PPL check ride advice, please. Yeah, check ride advice is just relax and enjoy it. You can do it. Your flight instructors would have never let you do the PPL skill test unless they were sure that you were ready, which means that you're ready, which means just go up there, do what you've done, do the landings, the power off landings that you've done with your instructors tens and tens times before, and enjoy it. Relax. That's my best advice for you, because you will nail it. Don't worry. Mentor pilot, I really struggle with math. How can I improve in this subject? It's just hard work. I struggled with math. I thought math was horrible, especially at a young age. I've had to work really hard with it. When other people could just, do their math stuff and be done with it, I had to sit and really, really think and concentrate, and that's what you're gonna have to do. There's no way around it. It's just hard work, but hard work does pay off. So you will get better. If you spend a lot of time studying, you will get better. I promise you that. All right, guys, I'm gonna go and fix some food for my family. I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and I hope to see you again in my next live stream. Once again, I want to to tell you guys that I will be doing a competition, and it will be based on my Mentour 360 app. Okay, so I am trying to get as many people as possible to use this app now, because I'm working on a second one which is going to be much more advanced, but this one is still out there and it's helping me fund my new app. That's why I keep pushing it. You know, you have these exercises, you can go in, you can see how a wind shear escape maneuver is done, both in mono mode like this, where you can kind of scroll through and see what I am doing together with Holly. Or if you have a virtual reality headset, you'll be able to switch it over and you can see it like this. Okay, I advise you to use headset and to see the briefing videos, then you'll get the most out of it. So guys, that's basically all I have for today. If you have any more questions, then please just post them below. I've been spending half of the day answering your questions and your suggestions. I do read every single comment that you guys send in. Sometimes I can't answer them immediately, but I do answer them when I have some time over, so it might take a while. All right. So, but do keep sending in, and send in suggestions of what you want me to talk about. Do you want me to talk about the different lights of the aircraft? Do you want me to talk about what you see in the cabin? Why cabin crew does things in a certain way? Then please tell me to do that, and I will make videos about them, guys. So, have a fantastic evening, guys. It's been great to see you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.